Anyways, here we are live on the Canada Hoops Daily live stream. We're watching Serbia versus the USA, and there's going to be a lot of stuff coming up uh, on this feed. Lots of basketball content, stuff going on for people to watch, and an announcement to make that um, we eventually, right, are going to be moving all of the Canada Hoops Daily YouTube content over to the feed under Sheldon Alexander. This will also be interesting because we're just figuring out the different places where people will be able to watch the pod, view the pod, and we're going to be doing different things, right? We got Olympic basketball coming up. Obviously, Canada's involved, best team Canada's had in their history heading into the Olympics. First time they've qualified for the Olympics in 20 years. So we'll be watching a bunch of those games. The USA putting together a crazy team after, they got shooketh after losing to Dylan Brooks last year in the World Cup. So the USA, LeBron went and got the Avengers. You got Steph, you got KD, you got Embiid, you got Tatum. Their team is stacked. So lots of basketball going on this summer, lots for people to watch and enjoy. And I think that what will be really cool too, will be doing watch alongs, meaning we can watch the games together, discuss, enjoy, chit chat, all that fun stuff. But also, it gives us an opportunity to just talk about a whole bunch of different stuff going on in basketball right now, because there is a lot of stuff going on in basketball. Whether it is, Summer League, which we're also going to do some Raptors watch alongs too. Raptors play later on tonight. So we'll be doing a bunch of that as well. And really, what we want to do is just give people the opportunity to talk ball, especially during the summer on this Canada Hoops Daily feed. What you have as well, a reminder, I'm going to repeat this a bunch of times. So apologies for the people tuning in right from the get-go here, right from Jump Street. But we will be watching we'll be moving all of the content from the Canada Hoops Daily feed over to the Sheldon Alexander feed. The reason I'm doing that is just to have it a one-stop shop, because there's going to be a bunch of different things coming from the brand for sure. But from a video perspective, the video content will only be available at Sheldon Alexander. Podcast feeds will remain the same, but like we'll be doing a bunch of watch alongs. We'll be doing video podcasts as well. That stuff will be under Sheldon Alexander. In terms of the audio, yeah, all your feeds stay the same. So Canada Hoops Daily podcast, which you'll see pop up as we get into like games and stuff. You'll see that stuff start to pop up. Those feeds remain the same. But yeah, let's talk some ball. Let's watch some ball. And this Serbia game, I mean, you're talking Nikola Jokic first off, right? You got Nikola Jokic, and you got Nikola Jokic, and you got LeBron James and company for the team Serbia. And it's funny because people don't really watch a lot of international basketball. And so you think that, okay, you're just going to get LeBron, you're going to get Steph, you're going to get all these guys, throw them on a court, and they're going to beat some of these European teams. And that's just not really how this stuff works. It's just not. But yet it's funny to see it on a daily basis because, you can have the equalizer is a closer 3-point line. So you have better shooters around the world, but also just a style of play. You watch a lot of NBA basketball, it's a lot of one-on-one, maybe you'll see a lot of pick and roll, but it's a lot of ISO ball and ISO driven. And that's a complete opposite of what they play overseas. The difference though really comes down to defense and the ability to be able to play defense against these teams that will be consistently moving the ball back and forth, swinging the ball. The ball doesn't stick in one person's hand. And so these guys on Team USA, on Team Canada, these guys are used to playing in the NBA. Are they used to defending this style of play? That's really the interesting part as well. And early on, from what I can see here in Serbia leading 16-15 in the first quarter of this game as Bam checks in and Bam throws down a huge dunk. Jokic just cooking Embiid, which I know shouldn't be a surprise because Joel Embiid has not been off to a stellar start here for Team USA. Um, and a lot of people making jokes online about Joel Embiid being on Team USA, but reality is he's there, and Steve Kerr has to figure out how this is going to work. Anthony Davis gets stripped, Serbia the other way, huge dunk. Yo, Serbia is balling right now. And that's the other part of this too. These guys are not shook, right? And I mean, you got the MVP on, or I guess, he didn't win MVP last year. Uh, but Nikola Jokic is on your squad, so there's no reason for you to be shook if you are Serbia. But also, these dudes are used to playing against high caliber competition. And so we're just seeing that now where they have no fear. They're playing defense, they're D'ing up, they're going coast to coast. They got some dudes that can ball. The other thing is, if you are watching this, send in your comments and questions. If you're on the YouTube page, make sure you send in your comments and questions, and we can talk about whatever you would like to talk about basketball wise, wherever you happen to be watching this pod. And wherever you do happen to be watching this pod, just know we appreciate that. We thank you for that. Um, as mentioned, I want to do a lot more of these watch alongs, especially as we get to the Canada games. And, we'll do some Raptors Summer League, mix some of that stuff in as well. Right now, you can find this. There's two different YouTube pages where you can find this, but just know Canada Hoops Daily page will be shutting down soon. Everything will be under Sheldon Alexander. Serbia throws down another dunk. Serbia, I mean, listen, the USA played Canada, and I know the score line against that Canada game, like Canada didn't really play their guys towards the end of the game, and Canada lost by double digits, but okay, cool. Then you had the USA, they just took on Australia a couple days ago. They won that game by, I want to say, 6 or 8 points. Yeah. And then now you're playing Serbia, who is in their group for the Olympics as well. So this is a matchup for Serbia, right? And you got to know that these guys are looking forward to this. These guys are going to be hype, wanting this, wanting to see how this works, right? Wanting to see how they match up against LeBron James and company. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Big shouts to the people watching in the chat. Don't hesitate to say what's up. Let me know what's going on. Let me know what you're thinking here. If you got any comments, is Serbia's up 20-16 with 3:47 left in the first quarter. Trying to see here. It's funny, like I know some people are going to ask, wait a second, like how do you even find where these games are? It's 2024. I'll say that much. But you got USA, you got Serbia. This is awesome, right? If you're a basketball head, and this is why we're doing this too, like, a lot of people talk about content and what you want to do basketball content wise. This is for the NBA sickos, right? This is for the people that love talking basketball and figuring out, okay, like what happens? Like we don't get this anymore, right? We don't get the all-star game. So putting all these guys on the same team and seeing who's the alpha, that's the best. And you got like your two units for Team USA. You got the Steph, LeBron starting lineup, right? With Embiid was starting with them as well. And then you got that second unit now where you see you got Booker coming off the bench with Ant-Man, Halliburton. How is this gonna work out? Ant-Man coming off the bench, should Ant-Man be starting? It's just super interesting. I love this stuff. This stuff is so interesting to me. I find it so entertaining, and being able to see who's going to start, who's going to come off the bench. It's going to come down to how you guard and can you play a role. Look at the ball movement from Serbia. They're just getting open looks. Jokic, that should be an and one. Serbia up 22-19. Right now for the US, they got Booker with Ant-Man, Bam Adebayo, Anthony Davis, and Tyrese Halliburton. Interesting front line, right? You got AD and Bam, but I mean, you're trying to guard Jokic, right? So it makes sense. that you're going to play Bam at the 4, which is interesting because we don't really see a lot of Bam at the 4 normally with the Miami Heat, right? But that's another example of just sometimes things got to be different in international basketball than it would be in the NBA. Jokic with 6 points and 5 rebounds. Steph Curry leading the way with 9 points for Team USA. It's so interesting. I also like watching the international play because you're seeing like ball movement, right? Look at that defense. That's the thing. You watch Booker and you're like, how come you don't defend like that all the time? But that's a cool part, right? You get to see these star players play a role, right? Where you have to play defense or else you're not going to play because they got dudes coming up after you, right? Let me see here if I can put in some comments into the other chat room here. Big shouts to the people watching. If you are watching, don't hesitate to like the video. Big shouts to the people watching the pod. Anthony Davis in the middle. That's this stuff's good for AD, right? Like, because you have to guard Jokic. It's gonna be a big matchup, but also like the battle between getting AD to play the 5 in the NBA versus play the 4. I get it. But I think regardless of whether he's playing the 5 or the 4, it's more about the style of play. You need some of that bully ball from AD. So seeing him be able to get that ball and throw it down like that, that's what the Lakers want to see. Bam Mississippi, AD with the throwdown dunk. "24-21, Serbia up. The minute and a half left in the first quarter. It's been a pretty close game. And this is where, it's good for Team USA as Ant-Man step back 3. It's perfect timing because that's what I was going to say. Ant-Man hits a 3 to tie the game. And I think this is what's so big about being able to get some of these legit games off before the tournament starts. Dudes will start to separate themselves and you'll find out who your starters are. Because Ant-Man, we know famously from the World Cup last year, as Ant-Man with the steal, gets fouled the other way. Like he's just a beast, right? Like we know that already. But what I'm talking about here is the fact that, if you go back to last year's World Cup of basketballs, you get another replay of Ant-Man with that step back, just cash money. Like it's just so easy for him, right? He's so good and so confident in his game. But that's just gym work. Um, But if you go back to last year's World Cup and at the start of it, they had Ant-Man coming off the bench. And, we heard now about the quote about how Steve Kerr was telling him, hey, even D Wade had to come off the bench because we had Kobe. And Ant-Man said, well, there's no Kobe's on this team. As if to say, yeah, so Kobe's not on this team. So how am I coming off the bench? And if you saw last year's World Cup, he showed that he shouldn't be coming off the bench of that team. And he took that hype and took it all the way into the NBA season to have just a brilliant season leading Minnesota, to the conference finals in their deepest run since the KG days, right? So this guy's a beast. And you put him on this team, and he's already come out and said, hey, I'm the go-to guy. How do these guys adjust to playing with me? And I'm sure he's being a little facetious, but there's some truth to that, right? And there's a lesson of you wanting to be the man. You have to have that mentality that you're going in there with LeBron and KD and Steph. And it's like, no, I'm that dude, right? I don't know. One of the highlights of last season was watching Ant-Man against Kevin Durant and just talking smack and, what kind of turned into a passing of the torch moment almost from one level of the NBA to the next. Let me see here. We're almost at the end of the first quarter here. Serbia's at the free throw line. Just getting off some making sure I can get into the different accounts here. Make sure the messaging goes out, make sure that people know what's going on. Cause, we've been doing some content here and there, but I know it's been a little sporadic. So just kind of making sure that everybody knows what's going down and hoping that people, will want to join in, watch some ball, talk some ball. And I know right now, we're up on two different YouTube pages, but it's important to amalgamate everything to one and amalgamate that to the main page and keep building out the content there. Because I think, that's what's going to be really important going forward as we continue to grow the brand here of content and just the different things that we're doing here. 28-26. Just under 40 seconds left here. It's so interesting watching these guys on Team USA play defense like this, like Halliburton running around. AD forces a turnover. Ant-Man on the break. He has AD and Bam, but decides to pull up for a three, misses it front rim, but you get it. I mean, that's more NBA style for sure. Takes a pick and roll, finds Halliburton, step back. No. See, that's another like silly NBA shot. And Serbia beats the buzzer, ties the game at 28. We're tied at 28 after one quarter. And listen, obviously Team USA is still figuring out what's going on, but Serbia, the point of this is that Serbia is ready. Serbia is balling. And those shots there that the US just took at the end, your step back threes, where you probably had layups. You also had the advantage of AD and Bam in the middle. But that's going to be the interesting part of all this, right? Seeing how they balance things out, seeing how they decide, okay, well, how do we want to play this? Who's going to be the guy for us? There's other things I need to do here. I forgot to turn some stuff on here. Let me see. Here we go. It's so interesting, right? Because there's so many different things that I forget to do when we are up live. There's little settings and stuff to switch up. But again, just a reminder, if you have any comments or questions, feel free to send them in to the chat. We will be here to discuss. And that's just what we do here on the Canada Hoops Daily Pod live hangout, USA and Serbia, game tied at 28 after one. A reminder, we'll be here to talk during a bunch of these, try to do the US games and the Canada games as we gear up for the Olympics and during the Olympics. Also going to try to jump on and do some summer league. Just watch, see what's going on, talk to the peoples as we figure out, more and more what's going on with the Toronto Raptors as we head into this season as well. I just think there's so much to talk about. It's so cool having basketball in the summertime as well. I just think it's a good opportunity. It's a good opportunity to be able to boom. Okay. Yeah, that works. Just a good opportunity to be able to talk basketball. And I think that as we want it to be, we want basketball to be at the forefront. And, We saw it with the World Cup and the hype that was able to build around Team Canada. I thought that was really cool last year. And, to be able to go into an Olympics and do it again this summer, I think that's going to be really cool. But or USA Serbia, this is a serious game. This is a really serious game because they're showing right now the 2016 Olympics gold medal game, USA blowing out Serbia. We get more subs here. It looks like the starters are coming back in. And as of now, it appears that Steve Kerr is going with Steph Curry, Drew Holiday, Jason Tatum, Embiid, and LeBron as the starters. And, Drew Holiday, it makes sense because you need someone who's going to play defense, especially in your backcourt. But some issues people have been thinking about how this will affect Team USA going forward is playing the point guard position, right? Like, how is that going to work long term? Do you need a point guard to distribute the ball, to make sure everyone gets the ball? Tatum comes up with the steal, right? Stuff like that. It's just, if that's the NBA, Tatum takes that all the way to the cup, but instead he goes up and tries to pass it to the corner, gets turned over. Those are the things that, are going to be worked out as these teams go along. Let me see here. Just checking the feeds, make sure the feeds are up. We want to make sure we're actually doing this properly, right? And I didn't even tweet out the link or anything. I haven't even checked YouTube or not YouTube. Oh, Instagram. What's up, my guy August in the chat? Wide open three. Wow, banks it in. Deep dagger three. Serbia with the lead, 31-28. Nice pass from LeBron. And that's what we're talking about, right? LeBron with a nice pass to Holiday. Holiday would normally go up with that. Instead, tries to find MB, turns it over. These are just the little things that USA has got to get used to. Serbia bangs in another three. Yo, as I said, Micic with a three. Serbia 8-0 run. They now lead 34-28. And this is a thing that's interesting, right? If you're Team USA, bully ball LeBron. And this is interesting to see, right? Because LeBron, who is that in the front row there? Is that Steve Stout? LeBron with a straight bully ball move. And I can't remember exactly what year it was, but it was one of those Kobe Olympic years. So it might have been 08 or maybe 2012. But LeBron bully ball Olympics was maybe the highest level of basketball I ever seen LeBron James play. My guy was just a physical force of nature, bigger, stronger, faster than everyone else on the court. It looked like he was playing against high schoolers. You ever go back? I'm sure someone on YouTube always posts those videos of a highlight tape of LeBron just like getting busy. And it's one of the craziest things ever because the chase down blocks. I really think that's where he came into the year playing defense too, on the chase down blocks, like just trying to annihilate everything moving defensively. I don't know. But either way, you can see LeBron sensing that the team's kind of struggling. He's looking around. He knows it's not going to be Drew. It's probably going to be someone between him and Steph, right? Tatum doesn't seem to be kind of there yet. And we know Embiid has shook ones. So it's LeBron. just playing bully ball. Look at that. And these are the things, right? You're going to see these in the highlights, these little just turnovers by the US. 4 USA players underneath the basket. LeBron and Steph both reaching for the ball. They knock it out of bounds. And that just sums up where Team USA is right now. But that's why these games are so important, right? You need some of these hard games before the tournament starts because you're going to be tested. And the Olympics is a tough, tough battle, right? So I was watching on what was that show? Skip Bayless's show, whatever it's called, with Rachel. Wow. Embiid just passed it to the ref. Team USA looks shook, like super shook. Steve Kerr calls timeout. Steve Kerr looks kind of shook right now. But Embiid just passed the ball to literally no one. I wonder too what's the chatter amongst these guys, right? Because like Embiid has looked horrible. Do these guys talk about it amongst themselves? Like, do they know who's ready, who's not? Writing out a tweet. I forgot I never even tweeted out a link that I was doing this. But I probably should do that, right? That would be a thing to do. Serbia versus USA Olympic basketball tune-up. Let's watch as a family. What did I call this? Join us. Canada Hoops Daily Live Hangout. It's so interesting too, right? Because like doing these like live watch parties are so different, or these watch shows are different than like the actual pod. Or like clearly we're watching the basketball game and it's 2.5 hour game or whatever. So it's you're talking the whole time, but it's not like you're filling up all the space, right? It's not like you have to talk the entire time. So it's just an interesting differentiator, I guess, than like hosting the pod by myself, where you are talking for 20 straight minutes. Here, there's an understanding. Yeah, we're watching a game. It's on commercial right now. Next USA game is Saturday, 3 p.m. against South Sudan. Okay. Not to be as hype as this one, for sure. I'm pretty sure Canada plays on Friday. Should go through that schedule as well. Well, look at this. 15 turnovers for the US versus Canada, 18 versus Australia. I think that said 6 today. Serbia versus USA Olympic basketball tune-up. Join us on the Canada Hoops Daily Live Hangout. And for these, I'm going to try to do it a bunch of different ways. I'll have different people join in and chime in at different points too. If they want to jump on, shoot the shit, why not? The more the merrier. Of course, as Jokic misses a 3. Just under 7 minutes left. Steph Curry. Look at that. Right? It's got to be Steph and LeBron. And, that's the interesting part about Embiid there, too. Like, Steph and LeBron, Embiid's got to dunk that. But I I almost don't want to talk about Embiid too much because it seems like I'm being harsh on him. But like, yeah, it's Joel Embiid. What else? I got to get my guy Webster on at some point, right? See what he's saying. KD on the bench. We know KD's still hurt. Drew Holiday though is so solid, man. I mean, Drew Holiday. There's always so much talk about Drew Holiday, and yet like he's just so good, like so good. You never have to worry about Drew Holiday. I gotta find. It's funny as I'm doing this. There's so many things that like I'm remembering as I'm going here. One of them being just remembering thumbnails, which I always forget. And I want to be able to find and relabel because there's one that I created in particular. I have so many templates in here. It's crazy. USA back on top, 38-36, 5.5 minutes left. Steph Curry leading the way with 12 points. Serbia looking to go back to Jokic as he just continues to crush Embiid in the paint. Easy work for Jokic. Look how fired up Jokic is, too. Steph. That should be an and one, but we know how crazy the reffing can be at times. Look at that. That's where Steve Kerr is going to get mad, right? Like Steph makes a great play, gets a layup, basically 1-on-3, meaning everyone on USA should be back, and yet somehow Serbia is able to come back and get a layup. Steph and LeBron are just dominating this game right now for the US. Steph hits a and 1-3, and he's fired up. Again, this is pre-tournament, right? Like this is an exhibition game. You can see from both teams how fired up and excited they are. And that's pretty cool to see, right? You're watching the best players in the world. Like, look how fired up Jokic is, screaming, yelling, calling out screens. What do we got here? Some substitutions. I see Anthony Davis coming in. Oh, he's still going with full subs. Like, yeah. So he subs out the full line now, right? The second unit comes in. Here comes Derek White. He's coming in for Steph. But basically, you got Ant-Man, Derek White, looked like Booker, AD, and Bam. And I get it from Steve Kerr. Like you have so many good guys, you want to play everybody. And this is the part where it's like, oh yeah, it's exhibition, right? Like he's trying to see who he can play and in what situation and when, how they respond in certain situations. Because it's becoming more and more apparent that Joel Embiid ain't it, right? And Ant-Man is it. Splash City, yo. Ant-Man is such a problem, man. It's crazy though. Like maybe it does make sense to have Ant Man. Like maybe in a really tight game, you'll have Ant Man close with Steph and LeBron. and I'm assuming KD in a big, but I can see why in these scenarios you have Ant-Man just come off the bench and lead that second unit, not worrying about LeBron or Steph, right? You just have them cook. But in terms of like, is he that dude? Does he deserve to start? I mean, tough to argue, right? My guy is just an absolute beast. Absolute beast is Ant-Man. Let me see here. That's not what I want to do. So Canada right now is playing a closed door scrimmage against France. And the two teams will play in an exhibition game on Friday. We'll do a live watch show for that. That'll be cool. Canada, France, it's a big game, obviously. Um, France, one of the big time teams in this tournament. Obviously, Wembanyama. Anytime you get to watch that, that's pretty dope. It's crazy though watching this. Like you see Steph Curry do it in the NBA, but now seeing Steph Curry, alongside LeBron, alongside like the best of the best, like that's pretty cool to see. What just happened here? Oh, did I not actually post it? I'm slacking here. Uh, it is dope watching like Steph and LeBron though, like two dudes who obviously looked around and saw that their team was struggling and know that, oh, it's got to be them to do it. I forgot my own Twitter account here for a sec. 47-40, Team USA in the lead. This has been a pretty good game, pretty good back and forth game. Joker, I feel like, has been playing a lot of minutes, even though it's an exhibition game. And he's going hard, man. That's what I was trying to do. Trying to find a thumbnail of the Canada Hoops Daily Pod, and I can't seem to find it. What? That doesn't make sense. I'm trying to find it, trying to find it. That's definitely not it. Nine-point lead for Team USA. Wow, Jokic. Jeez. I was just about to say too, like you could see this lineup of having AD and Bam, them being able to switch and both, be solid defenders against Jokic. And then as I'm about to say that, Jokic just bullies his way into the paint for a tough floater. He has 10 points in this game. Jeez, Bam. It's so funny watching Bam and AD and then watching Steve Kerr be like, "You know what? You know who I think I'm gonna start? Joel Embiid." Am I the only one that finds that funny? I don't know. Uh, uh, dumb. That's what I'll call that. Okay, cool, 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 cool. 51-42. 2:30 left in this game. That looked like a travel. Oh, geez. Great defense from AD there. Huge block. Spin move in the lane. Up fake. AD doesn't bite. Tries to go up. Blocks him in his face. But that's Anthony Davis, right? Like, that's one of the best defenders in the league, right? So, I mean, forget in the league, in the world, I should say. As he blocks another block there for AD on Jokic this time. Bam, so calm and cool. Look at Steph on the bench too. Steph is so hyped up on the bench. Bam with 9 points. This is what I'm saying. Like watching Bam and AD, it's like how imagine rocking with Joel Embiid when you have these two other guys there. Another block from AD. And he's fired up now. And then Bam, this move from Bam, a little step back floater, just so calm and cool. This is really good for Team USA though, right? To be able to get an opportunity to play a legit matchup like playing against Serbia and especially Jokic, like I don't understand that comment. It's a weird one. 14-2 run after the US goes to their bench, right? And that's normally where the differences will be made, right? Like Jokic has been playing this whole time and he was going basically 1-on-4 against like LeBron and Steph, and then they go to their bench and then here comes Bam and AD and Ant-Man, right? Like that's what makes USA so tough. 16-2 scoring run, extending the lead 56-42. And Jokic is trying, man. And one. Jokic, like, that's the other cool part for me watching these games. You get to see these dudes go so ham. And I think that part is really, really cool. And it's an interesting like culture thing too, right? Jokic 15 shots in the first half, 12 and 8, 5 of 15. But we were talking the other day about Canada and needing Zach Edey. Zach Edey not playing for Team Canada, because of Memphis, the Clippers not really wanting Kawhi to play for Team USA. You look at some of these European countries and it's a complete opposite, right? Like Joker has to play and he has to go ham. This is an exhibition game, right? Like my guy could be chilling, just waiting for the Olympics, and instead it's like, no, 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 I'm gonna go ham. That I think is really cool. Jeez. Okay, Bam. Bam with the three over Jokic. I wonder if Jokic is gonna play in the second half because again, it's an exhibition game. He's going really ham. He misses a three right there. 59. Was that 59-45? Do I have that right? Yeah, 59-45 at the half. Team USA. And that's where, the reality of just their depth is just so much, right? Where the realities of having that depth, if you're Team USA, where you can just, roll out another all-star team. And if you're Nikola Jokic, that's tough. It's super tough. But we are at halftime of this game. I was trying to see earlier if I could find they had a box score, and I don't think there is. Let me see. Showcase in Abu Dhabi. Oh, here we go. USA basketball. So we got Steph Curry leading the way with 18 points at the half. Steph 6 and 9 shooting, but if you pay attention to how Steph was playing, Steph and LeBron, Steph's 4 of 6 from three, but there is that stretch after Serbia made a push in that first half where Steph and LeBron just kind of looked at each other and said, "Oh, okay, I guess it's got to be us. We got to go here." And you look at how the lineups are kind of split here. I'd be very interested to see what happens when Kevin Durant comes back. But you have Steph Curry, Drew Holiday, Joel Embiid, and then Tatum and LeBron as the starters. And Tatum hasn't even taken a field goal attempt in this game, right? LeBron has taken two shots, but one of those was just straight bully ball. Embiid gifted a two at the bucket. Drew Holiday has two. But you have Steph Curry who was just going bonkers. And whether he was driving, getting all the way to the cup, hitting and one threes, he took it personally that they were down early to Serbia and really got the US going. And that's how they really break you down. Because by the time they go to their bench and you have Ant-Man coming in, AD just a bully on the defensive end. This box score is wrong. They have AD credited with one block, but I at least watched him get three in that half. And yeah, this box score I don't think is up to date. But the what Anthony Davis was able to do defensively is just insane, right? And how if you're Serbia and more importantly Nikola Jokic, you got to go from okay, you're dealing with Joel Embiid to then you're dealing with Bam and AD, right? That's a tough one. But yeah, again, USA up 59-45 after the first half. I'll use this time to talk a little bit more about some of the things we're going to try to do here on the Canada Hoops Daily feed. Just a reminder, if you are watching this and you happen to be watching it on the Canada Hoops Daily YouTube page, just know that will be going away soon. But you'll be able to find all the Canada Hoops Daily video content on YouTube under the Sheldon Alexander page. So make sure you go over there and like and subscribe there. That's where you'll be able to get the video content. Your audio content will remain the same. It'll be on the same feed. Video content moving over to the Sheldon Alexander page. Thank you kindly for liking and subscribing as you always do. in supporting the show. Other places you can watch, of course, we got we're up on Twitch. I don't know what happened to Twitter, but apparently you can't do live watches on Twitter unless you subscribe, which yeah, I'm not even gonna go into I'm not even gonna go into a Twitter rant or an X rant or whatever we want to call it. I'm not gonna do that at this point. But I will say that yeah, we want to do a lot more watch alongs, or I'll call them hangouts, live hangouts, where we watch games, talk about games. Gonna do one a little later on for the Raptors Summer League game that's coming up later on today as well. That'll be a lot of fun to watch. And yeah, Canada basketball, USA basketball. Want to watch a lot of that coming up as well. So I know I got a little different setup going on here, and it's mostly because um, the reality. I mean, if you're in the city of Toronto or know what happened in the city of Toronto yesterday, there's lots of flooding, lots of rain, and it's pretty interesting actually because I was literally yesterday cleaning out my office, setting up the studio, and then the flood happened. Like, it's just funny, right? And like where some of this stuff tried to come in, it was like right under where I would have been moving some stuff. I just hadn't moved that corner yet. So it's just so weird. So this is a little bit of a different setup on the fly. But as you know, say it all the time, unpolished, unapologetic, right? That's what we do here on the pod. And know that just trying a bunch of different things here, whether it's watch alongs, you'll still be able to get the pod. My guy August asking, going away soon, why? Oh, I think you didn't, maybe I didn't explain that properly. The feed is going away, but all the content, I'll still be doing all the video content. It'll just be moving to a different page. So that's the Sheldon Alexander uh, YouTube page. That's where you got to go if you want to watch the Canada Hoops Daily Pod. It won't be anymore on the Canada Hoops Daily YouTube page. That's all. No X rant, no Twitter X rant. I won't do it. Not gonna give my dude that much of my energy. There's no need. I'll just say we used to put the live stream up on Twitter as well, but now they're not allowing us to do that. So yeah. Let's see. USA up 59-45 at the half. I think that'll work here. Got too many I have way too many windows open. You ever notice when that happens? All of a sudden you look up at the top of your screen and then you have like 85 windows open. But yeah, what do we got here? Let's see here. We're talking Canada and Serbia. And the interesting part about USA and Serbia, pardon me. The interesting part about this game to me so far has just been watching and seeing what Nikola Jokic has been up to, right? Like he is just so good. And the fact that he is able to dominate the way that he is against Team USA, that like, is able to throw so many different bodies at him. It's such a tough one, but that's just how good he is, right? And we're about to get back to the second half. The second half of this game. It's so tough too, right? Because there's so many different, like they make it way too difficult to find these games. So you end up searching for it, which it shouldn't be that difficult to watch basketball, right? Like I'm gonna tiptoe around how I say this, but like a Canada or not Canada, a USA versus Serbia basketball game, and like the NBA channel is airing like high school basketball. I don't understand that. Like there's a feed, just plug the feed in. It's so crazy to me. We make it very difficult at times to be basketball fans in this country. I'll just say that politely and move on. Um, but yeah, we are coming back soon from halftime, 59-45. Team USA up. As mentioned, Steph Curry just doing work. I'm assuming that if I'm Serbia, I'm not going to really play Jokic in the second half, right? Because it's an exhibition game. What's the point in like, having him play more hard minutes? I think, you let him go in the first half, let him do what he does, and then, shut things down, chill out. Steph Curry, I mean, the problem for the US is, you can't really do that because no matter who you're talking about, like if Steph doesn't play, then it just means what? More Halliburton, more Ant-Man, like, the US, a drop off. There is a drop off, but it's not like the same thing as whoever Jokic's backup is, right? So with this game here, I'll be interested to see what happens in the second half. Does Jokic stay in the lineup, or does Serbia go to their bench and give Jokic a bit of a break here? Let's see. I'm being told here by my guy August. He says it's a Bryce James game on NBA TV, and apparently we, the viewer, would rather watch him than the Redeem Team 2.0. That leads me to an interesting topic. Thank you for bringing that up, actually, because people always like to compare dream teams or Team USA's in terms of which is the best team. Was it was one year better than the next? The original dream team to me is still the best one, but being able to compare rosters, like it gets tough because you're comparing different eras, and we obviously forget like where certain guys were, right? Like Larry Bird and Magic Johnson weren't in their primes when the dream team was on. And the eras were just so different that like even though you look at LeBron James now and you say, okay, well, LeBron's not in his prime now, or Steph's not in his prime now. Primes mean something different in this era than they did then, right? 92, you're talking peak power MJ. So, I mean, who's stopping peak power MJ on this team? I don't like it's just such an interesting conversation. The other thing I always love bringing up is those Olympic teams that had Kobe and LeBron on them. Those are so interesting. And if you hadn't seen the Redeem Team doc, it's a really good watch if you're a basketball head. But, and of course, the narrative sort of shifts. It was filmed after Kobe had passed away. So there's a lot of like tribute to Kobe as well, which, some people, people won't admit they're Kobe haters now because, I mean, he's passed away and that's a very tough look. But I remember watching those Team USA games and they were legit about to lose with LeBron, with Melo, with D Wade. And they're all looking around to figure out, okay, well, whose turn is it? Who's going to go? And it was Kobe Bean who stepped up and was like, nah, we're not losing. Right. So I always find that interesting when we talk about the LeBron versus Kobe debate, right? Which people don't really debate. But you know what I'm saying? Like to me, it's always like, wait a second. Like I watched these guys play on the same team and watched who the alpha was. But yet, if I'm trying to argue Kobe or LeBron, we don't really have time for that discussion. That's always super weird to me, right? I don't know. Let's see here. I'd be super interested though to know what people think, what people's thoughts are, because that to me is just a super interesting dynamic. Because hold on, I'm trying to write out a tweet and talk at the same time. And sometimes, it's just better to pick one. But Steph Curry had 18 points and Jokic had 10, 8. Nope, 13 for Jokic. Yeah, this box score is not good. Curry with 18, Jokic 13. Just getting the tweet game going on. Just know too, we'll be around and we'll be talking ball. I got to figure out a schedule for the actual pod to like kind of get caught up and kind of just, go through more thought out thoughts of what's going on in a bunch of these games. I'm not going to do like post game shows for exhibition games. Not really sure how the process is going to go once the tournament starts. If it's going to be watch alongs or hangouts like during the game to watch and then do a post game like pod after, or if it's going to be just the pod. Not really sure yet, but that's why it's important to just stay tuned to the feeds, the Twitter feeds, the IG feeds. That way you'll know what's happening, what's going on. Let's see here. If you want to continue streaming on Instagram, you need to remove this destination. Okay. All right. Instagram feed down. Got to re-add it. We are off into the second half here. I still see Jokic out there and Embiid getting some points. Yo, I'm gaining listen, I know it sounds like a ridiculous statement to say I'm gaining more respect for Nikola Jokic because, I mean, he's an NBA champ, multiple time MVP. That's cool. But I'm saying, like, this is a preseason or pre-tournament game. And you're playing against the US, it's kind of getting up there. It's at 16 points right now. And my guy's still out there riding with the squad. I just think that's pretty cool. I just do. And it just goes to show as a reminder, right? Where we see in these other sports where guys hesitate to play for their country. I just think there's something to be learned here from watching some of these European dudes and the fact that they're just balling out all the time. That to me is really cool. Yes, I totally agree. Tribute or not, it was Kobe's team. Yeah, I mean, after you watch that doc and you hear some of the stories that they were telling too about them all going out partying in Vegas and coming back to the hotel, and as they're going up to their hotel rooms at like 6 a.m., Kobe's coming down. We're getting ready to go to the gym. Like, that's amazing. But yeah, I love international basketball. I've always loved international basketball. I've always just found it to be, such a good time. And just like, again, this is for the diehard like basketball nerds, right? Like, and anytime you get to see the best players in the world go ham, you're gonna do it. I'm also interested to see because I know this doesn't happen in the NBA, but I love the WNBA setup of what they have going on. So their All-Star game is this weekend. And they've obviously, the way that it goes is they select their Team USA, and then Team USA plays the WNBA All-Stars, and that's the All-Star game. That's really cool. That's going to be a lot of fun. And I mean, add in the added extra oomph of the whole Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese. They get to be teammates for the first time. Caitlin Clark not making Team USA. So I'm sure they're going to have guards just try to go at her. I'm sure she's going to want to have a good showing against them too. I don't know. Just super interesting stuff all around. Got to say, Joel Embiid's been a lot more active, it seems, in the second half, which I think is good for him because he's been struggling really, really, really poorly. And I mean, people are putting together montages of Joel Embiid mishaps online. That's not really something that you want if you're Joel Embiid. Not at all, right? Again, big shouts to anyone tuning into this. Our USA Serbia Canada Hoops Daily live hangout. And we'll just be doing this a bunch over the next couple of weeks where we'll be watching basketball games. We'll watch a lot of USA games, whether it's pre-tournament or actual Olympics. Same thing for the Canada games. And I'm going to do some Raptors Summer League as well, right? As that's also pretty hype what the NBA's done and built up Summer League over the last few years. But I think with all the Raptors draft picks, plus, Ochai and Grady, you got some of their like real dudes playing as well. So it's an interesting summer league for the Raps. So going to do some watch alongs for that as well. So come hang out with us and know that you can find this watch along feed where you can send in your comments, join the feed, join in, send me a message if you want to jump on the pod. And we can do that while we're watching these games. That was funny. My guy copying the LeBron shoulder flex. I like that. But yeah, we can do a watch alongs. We'll do that for summer league games, and we'll do that for Canada and the US games coming up over the next few weeks here as we enjoy some basketball during the summer. And yeah, again, this is like sicko mode for basketball fans, right? Like anybody watching this or wanting to join in with me on this, it's like, I understand. This is like, hey, you just love basketball and I love basketball. And that's why we connect and we can have a conversation about what's going on here. And anytime I get to watch high level basketball, I'm in. Tatum has also struggled, not to the level of Embiid, but he also just doesn't look comfortable playing with these guys as of yet. But let me know what people think in the chat of this Team USA lineups, right? And I know that I have a hate on for Joel Embiid. Wow. They called a foul on that play, but that could have been a travel on Embiid for sure. But it just looks awkward, right? Embiid, Holiday, LeBron, Tatum, Steph Curry, Team USA starting lineup here. Great look. Jason Tatum able to get things done here. Everyone was a little upset too about the whole Derek White making the team over Jaylen Brown. But I also think that the thing that people aren't taking into account is that spot is basically like an end of the roster spot. And I think if you're Jaylen Brown, you feel like you should be competing for minutes, right? With Ant-Man, right? With Kevin Durant, with Jason Tatum. And I think that end of the bench spot going to Derek White is more so about that than it is about, why isn't Jaylen Brown on the team? Because that's the other tough part, right? You're going to have guys who end up going over to play international ball, and you might not play because you have so many dudes on the team. US really stretching this game out here, 73-52. LeBron and Drew Holiday misses a layup. I can't believe Jokic is still out here, man. Jokic leading the break, finding his guy for three. USA timeout. I mean, USA still up big, 73-55, but big shouts to Jokic, man. Again, this is the off-season. Like, this is an exhibition game. Nikola Jokic out here doing it. I do feel as if Joel Embiid needs to come off the bench. Like, at this point, there's no chance he plays in winning time, right? Let's see here. What's my guy August saying? I'm actually curious your take on Team USA recruiting Embiid away from France. I think it's BS. Y'all are the greatest basketball nation and feel there's one position you can be. Yeah, okay. So I listened to during the Canada game, Grant Hill was being interviewed at halftime, and Gus Johnson asked him about this. And Grant Hill was saying, "Oh no, like I recruited him hard. Like he recruited Embiid to play for Team USA." And it's interesting because I get it. Like the way that if you're USA, you're building this team, right? You have so many options, but the one thing you're trying to do is almost make sure that you have certain guys for every style of play you could possibly face, right? So if you're thinking, hey, we might have to go through Jokic, which they do, um, having extra big guys or having multiple big guys to throw at them is huge, right? There'll be other random, and the other thing about international basketball, yeah, you'll know about Jokic, but there'll be another team that you play that has a big dude that you don't know, but he gets busy in whatever league he's in and he just plays straight bully ball. And so you will need big guys. And, you know, you're being greedy if you're the US, but you can do that, right? And I think given the opportunity, you know, why wouldn't you do that? You know, the other options that could have been for Team USA, I mean, Walker Kessler was on the team last summer, obviously, right? But you think of like who are the other bigs in the NBA that are like American big guys? You know, you're talking like who? Jared Allen. Uh, I mean, Nick Claxton. Like who are you? Who are you talking about? Obviously, I mentioned Walker Kessler. There's got to be some other guys that I'm missing off the top of my head, right? But in terms of big guys, American born players, like, and the other part of this, like DeAndre Ayton, right? Like it is pretty slim pickings after your AD and Bam, who are more stretch fours, you know, more so than being like your traditional five. And I think that also might be part of it too, where they looked at their roster and thought, hey, there might be instances where we need to play Bam or AD at the four. And so therefore having an actual five in Joel Embiid and at that level of Joel Embiid is just huge, right? So especially like think of the teams you might have to play. We just mentioned Serbia. You're seeing that today against Joker, but what happens when you got to go up against France even? And removing Embiid off of France so that you can play against, he can then play against, you know, Wemby or your man's Rudy Gobert. It's interesting. Do I think it's greedy? Yeah, of course. But I mean, people are going to do that when they have the opportunity to do so, right? And it's just very interesting when you look at Canada from a Canadian perspective, where they'd love to have Zach Edey, right? Like they'd love to have Zach Edey because they just need big bodies. And, you know, Canada in this instance, if they're playing against Serbia and you got to throw out Dwight Powell, Kelly Olynyk, and Kem Birch, you know, against Jokic. And we saw it last summer in the World Cup. you'll have these other teams where they just have big guys who just get busy in whatever league they're from. And you put them in international basketball where defensively, these NBA guys aren't used to playing defense on that same level or in the same ways, I should say. That's where you run into trouble. Like we watched Bruno Caboclo put in like work last year in the World Cup. Bruno Caboclo. Yes, Raptors fans will remember him, right? So it's just tough. And I think that once you have the opportunity to do so, you're going to try to put the best team together personally. Like I don't blame the US for this. Like I don't blame Grant Hill for this, right? Because if you can, you're going to do so. I blame Embiid for this, right? Because if you're Joel Embiid and you really want to play in the Olympics, there's the one factor that he already committed to playing for France, right? And France supposedly like expedited all this paperwork for him to get his citizenship so that he could play. And then there's Cameroon, where I'm pretty sure Pascal was playing for some like qualifiers that they didn't end up making it for, right? But I'm saying like if you're Joel Embiid and you're like you have the options of what team you're going to play for. On the one hand, I get it. You're going to jump on the USA wave. But on the other end, it's kind of like, yeah, it's too tough for me because I like no matter what I say, I feel like it's just oozing out my distaste for Joel Embiid, right? Because it's like he doesn't want the smoke. He's going to take the easy route. But the other part about this is that he's making it so easy to still hate on him because he's playing so whack that it's making it apparent that Team USA doesn't need you. So it's not even like he came into this and he's been playing amazing. And it's like, oh man, look at Embiid. He's doing so well. It's like, nah, like he really just showed up for the easy grind of just trying to jump on a gold medal. I don't know. What else we got here? At the risk of sounding ignorant or insensitive as a basketball superpower, pull from your pool of superior American players. Sim Pickens are not. You're not tapping into an unfair advantage. Yeah, I mean, there's a role too, and you can see they're trying to legitimize it, right? And I wonder if that was part of the promise because they're clearly force feeding Joel Embiid into the starting lineup, right? As Anthony Davis throws down a dunk. He's had a pretty good game so far. But that might have been part of it too, right? Where they tell Embiid, oh no, we want you to play and you're going to start, right? Like you're going to be our starting center. Because you know that happens sometimes is get a replay here of Ant-Man doing Ant-Man things here, stepping in, stealing the ball off the pick and roll, and raising the roof. But I just find it interesting, right? Like if you're Joel Embiid, you could tell there's probably a promise made of guaranteed minutes, right? And you're gonna say whatever you can to convince him to go over there, right? But it's been a tough hang. And if you go to Twitter, all you're seeing is people clowning Joel Embiid, rightfully so. But yeah, I don't know. I find it just a strange look. I also just see on Twitter that Pat Beverly is going to play in Israel next year. Okay, Pat Bev. Yeah, Friday's Canada game is at 3:10. We can definitely do a watch along for that. Damn, Ant-Man. Jab step, jab step, jab step. Oh, I thought that was Jokic that was down for a sec. And I was thinking, oh no. Oh no, they got Joker out of this game. Oh, my guy flopped super hard on that. I do love though the Twitter videos of Embiid trying to do his flopping and the refs just not buying it at all. Like that's actually hilarious. Yeah, poor Joel Embiid. So right now it's 83-58 as we wind down the third quarter here of this Team USA Serbia exhibition Olympic tune-up game. This game also taking place in Abu Dhabi. I don't know if I've mentioned that, but right now it looks like Serbia's gone full on to their bench for sure. US also well into their bench, but obviously their bench is a little more stacked than most other teams, right? Um, yeah. Wow, Ant-Man almost hit that shot too. Ant-Man is so cool, man. He really is so cool. 83-58 after 3 quarters. And Serbia was able to keep it close for a bit, but but eventually Team USA's depth, it's just too much, right? And Nikola Jokic is in a spot where I mean, he's not playing with his full roster like Bogdanovich. Bogdan didn't play in this game, right? Obviously, I'm assuming he's injured, or maybe they're just waiting for him to play in the Olympics. He's on their bench, but did not play. So I mean, it's an interesting one for them because obviously you need Jokic badly, and I think that Nikola Jokic in international play, especially where you can just put guys around the perimeter, have him start at the high post or in the low block and either cook and try to find guys. It's almost like, I mean, you watch what he's done to the in the NBA. So international ball, obviously, it translates in that sense as well, right? But tough go for Nikola Jokic. But I'm more interested in the Team USA breakdown of what their lineup will be. And also, we haven't seen Kevin Durant yet. So I keep wondering what their lineup will look like with Kevin Durant as well, and what their closing lineup will be, right? Like what their winning time lineup will be. Because you figure that it's got to be like you figure it's got to be Steph involved. Like people don't realize this, but you need Drew Holiday to play defense. Like you need a guy that's playing defense, especially in winning time against some of these other countries that have great guard play, which is most of these other high level teams in world competition, right? It's going to be guard driven. These guys can knock down threes. You need a defender. So Drew Holiday is going to be key. But if that's the case, then you're also talking Ant-Man, KD, LeBron, and then are you going AD? Like it's going to be interesting to see what Steve Kerr does. In this game, Steph Curry 18 points, Ant-Man with 14, Bam with 17 off the bench. And you see Bam and Ant-Man with those numbers, and that's really was the difference in this game, right? Because once Serbia was up and Steph and LeBron put their heads down and decided we're going to make our own little run here and kind of brought the USA back and gave them the lead. But then after that, once they went to that bench unit of Ant-Man, Bam, Anthony Davis, Booker, and Halliburton, I mean, Ant-Man's just knocking down threes everywhere. And then Bam and AD just dominating the paint on both ends of the floor. AD with like 3 blocks. It's just too much, right? But I'm going to keep talking here about, again, anyone that's just tuning in. First off, thank you. Appreciate it. And another reminder that Canada Hoops Daily, we're talking about the audio pod. Your feeds will remain the same, but the video pod for Canada Hoops Daily, just know that you'll be able to find us on Sheldon Alexander YouTube page. That's where you will find the video podcast for Canada Hoops Daily. We'll be doing a bunch of watch alongs like we're doing right now. I'm going to try to do them for the Canada games, for the USA games, and some Raptors Summer League will mix in as well. Lots of basketball going on in the summer, so why not watch and enjoy and talk some ball, right? Also, make sure you subscribe to Sheldon Alexander YouTube page. That's where you will find all the Canada Hoops Daily video content, as well as more coming this fall for sure, on the YouTube page. So make sure you follow, like, and subscribe Sheldon Alexander on YouTube. Yeah, the Canada Hoops Daily page is up for now, but it's not going to be up on YouTube much longer. So I'm going to do a couple of them, splitting the time so that people know that it's there for now, but probably by the end of the week it'll be down. But just know the pod's still going on. I'll be able to tweet it all out where you'll find it, but just give me a heads up so you can head over and start following at the Sheldon Alexander page. And the tough part in these games too, I guess I'm pretty sure I saw the spread in this game was 15 and a half. And the thing that makes it so tough, right, is that even if the other team goes to their bench and it's garbage time at the end of the game, like Team USA's garbage time lineup, I mean, maybe they still have a couple extra guys here because it's like exhibition, but know that, you're still talking Anthony Davis, Halliburton, Booker, Ant-Man, right? Like, it's crazy. It's crazy the lineup they're able to throw out there. $85.61. Jeez, Ant-Man is so good. That mid-range game. Left hand, takes a contact, shoves off the defender, and just hits a mid-range shot. It's just a beautiful thing to watch. Anthony Davis has been just a beast. I feel like that's got to be like his fourth block of the game, just pinning that against the backboard. Embiid dapping him up. Well, LeBron checking back into this game. What's going on here? Yeah, we get the starters ball back for Team USA here. Trying different lineups here. So as we see, right, like Derek White got some minutes there. So Bam wasn't in with the bench guys. But then now we're seeing Bam, who's had a really good game, play with the starters. The other starters being LeBron, Steph, Tatum, and Drew Holiday. And this is interesting. No Joel Embiid, who, as mentioned, has struggled and struggled a lot. And this is where you're tinkering, right? Because you're wondering, wait, why are these guys coming back in the game with 7 minutes left, right, in the fourth quarter? But it makes sense. What does this look like if Bam plays the 5, right? Wow, Steph. USA getting back to playing super sloppy here. And then Steph just bails them out with the massive 3. And that's what makes this unfair, right? Like, they do everything so messed up, and then Steph Curry's just like, well, what do you know? What do you know? I'm Steph Curry. Just a reminder to people watching this right now. We'll be back later on to watch the Raptors Summer League game, which Raptors Summer League tonight is at 5 p.m. against the Utah Jazz. We'll be watching that, some Summer League action. Hopefully all the main guys are still in. It'd be good to see Grady and company get some more burns, get some more games. Raptors try to, get some dubs in the summer league, especially with Grady and those guys being focal points. I think that's really cool. So we'll be doing that later on today as well. Oh, wow. Here we go. Alley-oop, bam to LeBron. That's not something we saw from Embiid. The USA really starting to have some fun with this now. Serbia knocks down a three. Yeah, the US, they're just trying to like bury these guys with 3-point shooting at this point. Tatum misses, Bam misses. Wow. Drew Holiday behind the back to Steph. 3-pointer. Steph looking like Golden State Steph running up and down the court with the celly. This comment here from Cuffs the Legend, who's a good follow on Twitter. He says, Bam looks so much better when he's playing alongside a legit center. Bam is a power forward in any other era of basketball. I love the Kel'el Ware pick from Miami if he can develop. Eventually have a monster power forward center duo with Bam and Ware. Yeah, I mean, this is exactly what we're talking about, right? Like this era of basketball where, Bam and AD are playing the five and, you know, Olympic basketball is so interesting because damn, LeBron bully ball. And LeBron, okay. So LeBron bully ball scores and he starts flexing again. Because if you remember, LeBron did it earlier where he scored and he does a big shoulder shrug. And then dude on Serbia did it jokingly. I wouldn't even say that he was mocking LeBron. I felt like he was like clearly joking around. But LeBron in this game, bully ball, while with USA up big, does a serious shoulder shrug again. And it's like, all right. I mean, this is why you're here, right? Got to put the highlights up for LeBron. So can't even be mad at him. I think he's already said this is his last Olympics. So got to enjoy, right? And you know what? I'm not going to knock these guys for having fun and taking this seriously. Like you're watching the best basketball players try and care. That's how often do we get to do that, right? The playoffs every year, maybe a couple regular season games a year. LeBron just looks like he's shooting this three, like he's sizing him up. Nope. Oh, my guy almost picked LeBron's pocket. Good defense there. Oh, and then they turn it over. My guy played really good defense on LeBron there, forced him into a tough three, and then Serbia turns it over to Tatum, who's able to lay it in. 4 minutes left in this game. USA up 30. Really, we're here for the court cuts portion of this game now, right? Guys will try to pad their stats to not make it look as bad as Tatum misses a fall away jumper. This is where if you're a coach, you're Steve Kerr, you're kind of like, Tatum brings the ball up the floor, doesn't pass it once, and just misses a jumper. Big shouts to the people who've been rocking with us through this pod. Really appreciate y'all. Don't forget to bless the video with the like, bless the account with the subscribe. Really appreciate you tuning in and watching along with us here. LeBron tries to throw the ball over his head, tries to pass it over his head and misses. Oh, man. Yeah, don't forget to bless the video with the like, bless us with the a subscribe. Really appreciate it. A reminder to the people watching in the Canada Hoops Daily feed, just know that the Canada Hoops Daily YouTube page will no longer exist soon. Everything from a video perspective will be going to the Sheldon Alexander YouTube page. Your audio feed will remain the same, but we'll be doing a lot of live watch parties or live hangouts, watching basketball for the next little bit here. But just know that content will be on the Sheldon Alexander page. I put them up on both just because, let the people know that they can jump on and see. But just know that going forward, everything will be on the Sheldon Alexander feed for our Canada Hoops Daily content, Canada Hoops Daily video content, I should say. Yeah, everyone's been pretty dope watching this stuff. And, I want to talk more Raptors. I'm interested to watch the Raptors game later on, just because I haven't really gotten much of a chance to watch the Raps uh, summer league yet this year. And yeah, their guys are really playing. You got Grady playing, got Ochai playing, all of their draft picks, which they made a ton this past off season. I know we haven't talked about that a lot, but we will talk about that later on in the game or later on tonight. Raptors play at 5 p.m. So make sure you join us for that. We'll be on the live feed discussing Raptors basketball later today at 5 p.m. So make sure you join us for that. I'll put out the link on Twitter and all that fun stuff. And, we're just trying to build out the network here and build out the community where we can all watch, especially when there's not a lot going on, not a lot of basketball going on, but I know for the hoops junkies, we just want more basketball talk. So we'll keep going with that. I can't lie, as I'm watching this commercial for the WNBA All-Star game, I want to watch this. Like, I'm excited for this. I think it'll be really cool. And I love the format of their USA team playing against the WNBA All-Stars. Like, I think that's just really cool. And if I'm the NBA, I'm trying to figure out something similar. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's like you put like a one singular all-star team against like whoever wins the USA Cup game or whatever. I don't know what you do, but you got to come up with something for All-Star Weekend. I wonder if eventually they just change it so that they wouldn't do that. I was going to say if you change the in-season tournament so that the semifinal and final becomes All-Star Weekend with a dunk contest and three-point shootout, but they won't do that because you're not going to eliminate one of your big weekends, right? You just added a big weekend with the NBA Cup or whatever it's called, in-season tournament. Let me go on the Twitter sphere, see what the peoples are saying here about this USA basketball game. The US, they have a couple guys that I think were on their like select team or the team that they had play in some of those other tournaments, the tournaments that are like the qualifiers while the NBA season's going on. So I see Langston Galloway getting some burns here with 2 minutes left to go. USA up 99-74 against Serbia. Yes, Langston Galloway. I can't wait for the Olympics though. Like I think it's just super awesome, the Olympic tournament in general. But just the fact that the way that the breakdown of the qualifying tournament, I wish that stuff was on TV, but that was a lot of fun, right? The fact that you had Luka versus Giannis, with them both trying to qualify for the Olympics. I think that's really cool. but also just the fact that you look at the groups, and I just think that it's so tough when you look at the groups for the US and even for Canada, right? Like I just think it's going to be super tough to see who makes it through. You can't really have a bad game, like, and point differential is such a big deal. So even if you're losing, you don't want to get blown out, like you can't, it's going to be super tough. And that's a part that I think is super dope about international basketball play. Because you always end up having guys that you don't know who they are and they just end up cooking. Winding out the clock here. Good job, good effort, Serbia. For me, it was dope to see Jokic, man. I know it's the most obvious statement to make that Nikola Jokic is dope, but I'm saying the fact that he's going out there against Team USA on his own, and my guy gave it his all for a full 3 quarters against the best big guys in the world, not named Jokic, and was able to, have a pretty solid match, keep this game pretty close until it got into bench time, right? And then obviously, they don't have the depth anywhere near the depth that Team USA does. But overall, we're looking forward to this Olympic tournament, and lots to talk about for sure. There are preseason games that we will be able to talk about in the very near future. As mentioned, Canada will be playing against is it France on Friday at 3:30. We'll do a watch along for that. As mentioned, also we're gonna do a live hangout for this Raptors game that's coming up later on today at 5 p.m. That'll be a lot of fun. And basketball in the summer. This WNBA commercial that is like Floje. That's awesome. If you're not familiar with Floje, you will be come next year. Basketball. WNBA going on. You got Olympic basketball. You got Summer League basketball. The NBA has done a good job of staying in, like, just staying involved for the entire summer. Whereas, like, I tried to watch the MLB All-Star game last night. There's so many dudes I'd never heard of before. I can't say that I'm a baseball fan. Like, that's not what I'm saying. Like, but it just seems weird, like, how out of sight, out of mind, you're not, like, baseball is outside of your local team. And we have a final here as this game is now over 105-79. Serbia goes down to the United States. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. As mentioned, thank you for watching this USA versus Serbia Canada Hoops Daily live hangout. Really appreciate all the people that were in the chat, rocking out, enjoying the game with us. We'll be doing this more. The plan is to try to do these live hangouts for USA basketball, Canada basketball, and some Raptors Summer League we'll mix in as well. But this is all gearing up towards the Olympics, which is going to be a whole lot of fun. So make sure you like and subscribe. You know me, Sheldon Alexander. You can find me on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe there. That will be where you'll find all this video content, the live hangouts and such. Make sure you tune in there. And also you follow me on socials, because that's when you'll know. I'll give a heads up when we're live. You can find me on Twitter at Shell Alexander, on Instagram at Sheldon Alexander. Of course, we still got the Canada Hoops Daily accounts that are up and running on Twitter at Can Hoops Daily, on Instagram, Canada Hoops Daily. And a reminder, if you're watching this right now on the Canada Hoops Daily feed, make sure you go over and subscribe to the Sheldon Alexander YouTube feed. That's where you will find the video content for this pod going forward. We'll be doing watch alongs, we'll be doing some pods coming up, and hope you enjoyed. Because, I mean, that the USA, getting to watch LeBron and company, LeBron and Steph go off, and then, great performance off the bench from Anthony Davis and Anthony Davis and Anthony Edwards. I got thrown off there because I knew I was saying Anthony Edwards, but I saw Anthony Davis on the screen, and that's what threw me off. That was pretty good. But yeah, great to see USA basketball. I love USA basketball just in terms of watching the best players in the world go at it. I'm just super happy that this summer we get to watch it with Canada basketball and Canada being able to put out a team that should medal as well. Those are the expectations. That's what we want to see from Canada basketball. And so it's really cool to watch some of the other top teams in the world in terms of Serbia and the US go at it as well. We'll be here to break it all down. Canada Hoops Daily. We'll be watching basketball games. I'll have some guests that'll jump on with me here as we try out some different things, some watch alongs, some different pods. Find out where the content is. Just follow me on socials. Really appreciate y'all for tuning in. And I won't play music. I was going to play music on these watch alongs, but just know that really appreciate y'all rocking with us here on the podcast, and know that we'll be doing this later on today, 5 p.m. Join me as we'll watch some Raptors Summer League ball together. We'll talk Raptors. I know I haven't really done a pod talking about the Raptors off season at all, really, or the NBA draft. So we'll get caught up and be able to talk about a bunch of that then. So tune in and make sure you follow along with these watch alongs. We're doing those on YouTube, Sheldon Alexander, or on Twitch. That's where you can find these things, or the Canada Hoops Daily IG page. You'll find it as well. But again, my name is Sheldon Alexander, and as I always say, I used to pray for times like this to rhyme like this. This is Canada Hoops Daily live hangout. Until next time, see ya.